Hello everyone, I'm Jesus and welcome to the next episode of The Road to Old School MTG. In this video, I will be discussing in depth the Tattoo 40 format. I've talked about this format previously, but more just in general, not too in depth. But now I want to make a video that is in depth and gives you all the information on the format and also how you can create your own Tattoo 40 deck. And then over here, I have my own Tattoo 40 deck to show you. So the reason why I want to go more in depth into this format is because the players at my local playgroup have attained enough cards that they have created their own Tattoo 40 decks, and I have begun to record Tattoo 40 content. So instead of me having to explain every single time I create a video based on Tattoo 40 and having to explain all over again all the nuances of this format, I thought it would be best if I just made one video that talked about this format in depth, and I could just refer everyone to this video instead to make things more easier. So first of all, giving credit to who created this format, I will be with this video, I will be posting a link to the Tattoo 40 website. For now, I'm going to show the website in question. So Tattoo 40 was developed by the Old Order, Old School community. This is the website I will be linking, and here are examples of tattooed cards. So what is Tattoo 40 in details according to this website? And they are the creators of Tattoo 40, so it's best I refer to them. So it's an Atlantic format, same reprint policy, 40 card deck minimum. In our playgroup, we keep to the 40 card deck as a max. I mean, as the size of the deck. But here it says it is minimum, you can have more than that. All cards beside basic lands must have been obtained as event prizes or participation cards from attending events. And usually those cards will have some kind of a stamp. They've been scribbled on. The participants have been putting their writing their names, their initials, so on. And these cards are given out in a lot of old school tournaments, but they're more for mementos, right? Just to commemorate the event and to have something physical to look at. But this format is actually using those cards now that used to be just, for the most part, just put away. Now you have to create a deck, a 40 card minimum deck that uses only those cards. And of course, like it says here, except for basic lands, those cards have to be from events, old school events. Okay, so going into some of these Q&A. So first of all, it has to be from a more official event. It can be just people met up and then just gave each other really great cards as prize events, as prize cards. So when in doubt, really, was this a, more of a real event or not, And then it just gives a bit more information about, how you can use, what cards you can use and so forth, right? But I'm going to use my personal deck as commentary to show with examples what are the cards that you can use for this Tattoo 40 format. Right, so looking back now at my cards now that we went over that website. So this is my deck. Like the website said, basic lands are exempt from this rule that you have to have gotten the cards from official events. In my particular deck, it's a 40 card deck. I have all 5 colors at the moment, but I do want to do it, twiddle it down to less, right? 4 colors max, maybe even just 3. But for now, I have all 5. There's a couple of basic lands that I got some altered type things, art. So I'm keeping them just to keep in the spirit of Tattoo 40. Maybe hopefully I can little by little have all the basic lands have some kind of a altering on them as well. But that's not necessary. Usually because lands are not given out in as participation cards or as prize cards, right? So that's why the basic lands are exempt from this rule, right? So other than well, just to be in detail, so this deck has my deck has 4 mountains, 2 forests, 3 plains, 4 swamps, 3 islands, and have 2 non-basic lands, a City of Brass, and a Maze of Ith. So I have some cards here set up because I'm going to highlight them in my explanation. But first, looking at each color, first of all, I would say the majority of my cards are actually just artifacts. Flower Stone, I have another one in this pile. Triskelion, Black Vice. Oh, there it is, actually. It's the second Flower Stone. James Day Tome. Fountain of Youth. Soul Ring. Red cards. 3 cards only. A Goblins of the Flark, a Ball Lightning, and a Fire Elemental green. I have a Giant Spider here. I also have a Stream of Life, Scavenger Folk. White, just 2 cards. Healing Salve, and Sarah Angel. Black, Durlor, Headless Horseman, Vampire Bats, Black Knight, and the Mind Twist. Blue, I have a Spell Blast and a Sage of Latnam. So that's my current deck. And this is always a living deck, meaning it keeps on changing depending on as I get new cards. I have to evaluate the deck and then make changes, right? Actually, I have a couple cards already that I'm going to be looking to change. Okay, so now going into in-depth of, what does all this mean and how do I get these cards to create my own Tattoo 40 deck. So a lot of events, not all of them, but a lot of old school events will have a participation card given out to all participants. So if you go to an event, and if usually the bigger events will have these cards, and everyone who participates will get this card. So here are some examples from some events that I've been to recently. Well, in general that I've been to. So to highlight participation cards. So I got this card in John Con. So it has a stamp image of first it says John Con, and it has a pretzel image. Scavenger Focus the card. So everyone who attended that event got this card. In the 2023 LobsterCon, I got this card by attending the X Points event, and I got this card by attending the Atlantic event. So everyone who attended either one of those events got these cards. And then you have the lobster icon. And then most recently, in November, I believe, I attended the Stream of Life event. And that's what SOL stands for, Stream of Life, and then the date of the tournament. So everyone who attended this event got this card, an unlimited Stream of Life. So these cards are legal in Tattoo 40 because you got them from the event, and there's some kind of a stamp or image or writing that shows this was from this event, right? So if you got these cards there, they are eligible to be included in your Tattoo 40 deck. Now, since these decks, these cards are given to everyone. They tend to be more generic cards, right? Cheaper cards. So you may or may not want to use some of these depending on what colors you're using, right? But for these, for my deck, I ended up using these cards definitely. The Fountain of Youth actually is pretty handy. So these are examples of participation cards. Not every event will have participation cards, but if they do, this is what this means. Now, a lot of tournaments, old school tournaments, part of the cost to attend a tournament is to donate a old school legal card to include in the prize pool. So if you attend an event, you gotta donate a card. It could be whatever card you want, of whatever cost you want. It all depends on the generosity of the participants. Could be something that's a few pennies and something that's way more than that. Okay. So depending on how you did in the tournament that you're attending, first place will get to pick first among all the cards that were donated. Second place will pick second. Third place would pick third, and so on, right? So depending on how well you did, you get first crack among those cards, and then you get to keep that card. So two examples of that are here. So this Soul Ring actually recently got it, and from a local event in Days Time Warp. And then this Soul Ring from a bit more ago, but I got this revised Soul Ring also from a Time Warp event. And these two cards were donated by others, and then I did well enough to select these cards while they were still available to be selected, right? So somebody else who did better could have just taken this card, but there must have been something else that they preferred for these two to still be available when it was my turn, right? So these two cards I got from me choosing them based off the placement that I got in the tournaments where I got these cards. Now, before I go any further, if you notice, this is very common in old school, where players who participate in the tournament will also scribble their name, their initials, and so on. So this is actually where another reason why this format gets called Tattoo 40, right? Because look at this, especially this City of Brass. It's been scribbled all over. So it's been tattooed, right? So usually events will have their own special stamp, like some of these, or this special icon, right? Or just writing something is fine as well, right? They don't have to have these, but a lot of times they will, right? It all depends on the organizers if they have enough time. But in addition, and this is part of the old school community, any cards that you get from either participation cards or from the prize pool, a lot of players will ask the attendees to scribble their names as a memento, like I mentioned, right? So that's why all of these, or most of these, you will notice will have some kind of scribble on them. These are the initials of some of the players that me personally I asked to scribble. Some of these may have only one name or more, and that just is on me, right? So depending on if you're comfortable, you may ask more or less players, right? So and it's up to everybody. Sometimes a lot of tournaments, the prize pool, it'll be displayed, all the cards that people donate, and then they tell everyone while they have some free time, okay, go and initial all the cards there. So that way, that is what happened with this one in particular. This was one of the prize pool cards, and among all the cards that were available for this tournament. And then when everyone has some free time, they initial their names. This is my initial right here, JM. So this is another indicator of that you got this card during a tournament. You will see a lot of scribbles on the cards, right? And not all of them will have one. This one doesn't have, but this one does have the stamp from the tournament that I got it from, right? So there'll be some kind of a visual clue that this was a card that you got from an event, right? Okay, so now the third way that you can get a card is prize cards that are given out by the tournament organizers for many different reasons, right? So there could be a first place card, second place card, top 4, top 8. There could be a card given out to the most creative deck, the deck that the deck that did the best that was unpowered, right? So no Moxes, no Power 9, or the deck that got last place, right? So, and these prize cards can be given out for whatever reason, or they cannot be, right? So it's once again, it's up to the organizers of the event and the time they want to put into it or not, right? So, but these are possible other ways that you can get, and once again, you can if you get one of these cards, you can walk on and ask for initials, or sometimes they already will be initialed ahead of time, right? So it depends, but they still has to be some kind of a visual sign that you got it in a particular event. You can't just give a card like this that doesn't say anything. That's not a basic land, right? Like we said, basic lands are exempt from this rule. But if you just got a card like this and say, "Oh yeah, I got this in this tournament," and this is let's say a fireball, whatever. But there's nothing visually that says you got it. It looks like a fireball. You could have gotten it from anywhere. Then that will not qualify because there has to be tattooed. There has to be some kind of a visual sign that you got it from an event. So these two cards I got from both of these I got from second place, and then it has the time warp stamp. So this is another way that you can get a card that's tattooed. And then if you wanted to, I did it with the Mind Twist. I asked for participants to sign the card that I got in this event from me placing second place for both of these events, right? I missed out on first place for both of those. Right, so that's why I had these cards here to the side to just highlight some of the different ways that you can get these cards. Are there more ways? It's possible, I guess. It's up to the tournament organizer, right? Like what do they consider a card that they want to give out, right? But in the end, it has to be from a tournament, and it has to have some kind of a visual sign, even if it's just the initials of the players, right? So this card here, there's no official stamp because this was one of the prize pool cards. So somebody donated this giant spider, and I believe this is alpha or beta, and then people initialed it, and then when it was my turn to pick up according to the placement that I placed at, I chose this card. So other than the initials and the names here, that's the only indicator that I got this card from an event. But that's also sufficient, right? It doesn't have to have a fancy stamp or anything, right? You could just, this is proof enough, right? And of course, can anybody just get any card and scribble stuff and say they got that card from a tournament? Yeah, of course, right? But as I will refer to the old order website, rule number, let's say, answer 2. Don't be an a-hole. This is supposed to be a fun format, and you're supposed to use cards that you got in tournaments. So don't be an a-hole and just create stuff that doesn't that isn't true. And then I also wanted to highlight here. So you see, look at this price card, most damage. So this particular tournament gave a prize for that. Look at this, 5th place at GloryCon. They gave this card for 5th place. Some of these are just participation cards, right? So everybody must have gotten this one, and then it was signed by this. I had this image of the cannon, right? So here we already see several examples of different reasons why you will get a card. And these extra ways of getting cards, that's up to the tournament organizers, right? So it's up to their discretion, but these are also available for you to use and include in your Tattoo 40 deck. All right, so with that, that gives a very clear explanation of Tattoo 40, how you get the cards, and then now in terms of building your deck, that's totally up to you, right? So I'm choosing to do all 5 colors because I don't have a lot of any one particular color, or at least I didn't previously. Now I have a few cards that I even haven't put here. So some of my other the other players in my play group, they are including every single card they ever got because that's enough. That's what they have to do to have a 40 card minimum deck. For me, I have these are like 23, something like that, and then I have like 17 basic lands, something like that. And then in addition, I have like 5, 6, 7 cards that I haven't even used, right? So I have enough cards that I can actually start being selective and choose some and not choose others. So that's what I'm going to start doing because I am the deck is fun, but it's not as competitive as I want it to be. So part of that is definitely because I have too many colors, right? So I need to whittle at least one color, maybe even 2 out, and then load up on the remaining colors more, right? So that's where you placing higher in a tournament is even more crucial because then you get first crack. So this Sarah Angel, I believe I was one of the top guys when this was available, and that's this particular tournament, and then I chose this one. So same thing with the City of Brass. I recently got this one not too long ago, and I had my eye on it because since I was playing all 5 colors, I'm like, okay, I was thinking, wow, I really, really need a City of Brass because with all 5 colors, I consistently don't have the correct color that I need, right? So also my 2 flower stones here are very crucial to help with that as well, right? Because it provides more mana that I may not have from my own basic lands. So that's something to consider. How many colors? If you have to include every single card you ever got just to have enough for a 40 card minimum deck, then you have no choice, right? You got to use everything. But as you attend more events, then you can start being more selective. You can choose some cards, some colors, and not others. So this is where I'm at this point. I'm starting to be more selective. I gotta to make my deck more stronger. I need to eliminate 2 colors, at least one color, definitely, maybe even 2, because 5 colors is definitely not sustainable. Even 4 colors, I would say that's tricky. So at the current moment, blue and green are the colors that I have the least, actually, and white. For blue, actually, I have another Sage of Latinam, but I don't include it yet. It's extra that I could. Green, I have 3 cards. And then white, I just got 2. At least that I'm currently using. Like I said, I do have a few extra cards that I don't use at the moment. But I may be tempted to change my mind according to, as I get new cards, my opinion may change. But the week is so far definitely blue. This seems like I'm going to be taking this out, even though I really like these personalized cards I got from an event. but so far blue is the weakest. White is only weak because I only have 2 cards at the moment, even though Sarah Angel is such a strong card. If I can get more white cards, I may keep it. Black seems to be definitely the color that I will be keeping for sure. Because not, of course, I have the Mind Tools, which is super strong, but I have these extra creatures, which are pretty good as well. Red, I only have 3 cards for red, at least at the moment, but they're pretty decent. The ball lightning, I thought it would be super hard to get, but because of the City of Brass and also my forward stones, I have been able to get the 3 red a few times to pass the ball lightning. So red is on the bubble, but so far it's working out. Green, same thing. I got 3 cards at the moment. The Streamer Live has been very good actually, because I've seen that you get a lot of lands as the turns go on. So similar to, I guess, 100 card singleton, right? Where you have 100 cards. Although this, you can't have more than 1 copy, right? So I have 2 Power Stones, like I said here. But that's because I got them from 2 different events, right? But you can have multiples of a card. And of course, that doesn't count for the basic lands, which you can have as many as you want, of course. Okay, so I still got to do some decisions about, what I'm going to keep, what I'm going to change out. But hopefully this explanation gives you a lot more of a in-depth insight into the Tattoo 40 format, how you get cards, and what considerations you have to do to create your own Tattoo 40 deck. And like I said, I've begun to record some Tattoo 40 content, so you will be seeing more of this format in some of my future videos. Thank you.